Alrighty, what's cracking, MoshPitters? This is InertFury here, and today I'm bringing y'all a 5th gen underused match that I had against PokemonAthletified. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this battle. I'm going to lead with my Crobat. He's going to lead with a Nidoking. It was a little bit weird seeing a Nidoking lead. You know, I don't really see those a whole lot in UU, at least in the lead position. So I'm just going to go into my Shaman. I know it was probably kind of obvious he was either going to go for either a Thunderbolt or an Ice Beam. Either way, I knew if he went for Ice Beam, I could at least take one, and then possibly finish him off with a Seed Flare, which is exactly what happens. So that's really good for me. And so he's going to go into his Arcanine here, figuring that he's probably not going to want to go for the electric move at least. I can go into my Lodic. He goes for the Extreme Speed. Judging by that damage, that is definitely a choice banded Arcanine, because Extreme Speed would not have done that much, because I do have mixed defenses in this my Lodic. So I'm just going to Toxic, predicting his switch, and he goes out to his Shaman, which is alright, because at least for the time that it's in, it can get Toxic, but once it switches out, you know, because a natural cure, that won't be there. So figuring he's just going to go for the safe Seed Flare, which is what he does, I go into Zapdos. You know, I take that fairly nicely. He does get a Spec D drop, which I don't really know how much that'll matter here in a second. So I win the Speed tie and go for Heat Wave, but I miss, which sucks. And then he hits me with the Hidden Power Ice and finishes me off with a crit. The crit didn't really matter, but it was just kind of like one of those salt in the wound situations. So now that it's such at low health, I'm going to threaten with Crobat, just go for a U-turn to get my switch initiative going. And he's going to go with the safe play and just go into his Arcanine. And I'm now going to switch into my Shaman because I want him to lock himself into Extreme Speed, so that way I can at least get a safe switch into my Registeel so I can at least get my Stealth Rock set up. So figuring that he's not going to want to stay in here, you know, Extreme Speeding a Registeel, and he goes into his Heracross. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering, okay, well, what kind of Heracross is this? So I'm going to stay in and scout it. I just go for a Silence Toss. I don't see any kind of like Life Orbs, so at this point I'm thinking that this is choiced as well. So I'm going to quickly go and test this by switching out into my Dusknoir. And he's just going to go for another close combat again, and he's switching out. So at this point, I'm probably assuming that he is indeed a choice scarfed or choice banded in one of those ways, but I'd figure scarf, since most of his team was kind of slow. Either way, I'm going to set up a sub on his switch and just focus punch this Snorlax, and just watch this. This is just a testimony of how much sub punch Dusknoir is awesome. Watch this. It one-shots this Snorlax rather, after a Stealth Rock switch, and it's like, wow, that is... Dusknoir, you are such a beast. Okay, anyways, enough of the Dusknoir praising and all that. So, figuring that he's now just going to want to start flare blitzing everything, I'm going to go into my my Lodic, which can take this really well, considering it is a choice banded flare blitz coming from an Arcanine. So right here, I'm figuring that he's going to switch, so I'm just going to go for Recover to get a heck of a lot of health back so I can take hits in the future. And right now, I'm trying to keep this alive just so I can at least fire off a Toxic on one of his guys later, because my Registeel's kind of at lowish health. So anyways, he goes into Shaman. I figure that he's not going to want to over-predict too much, because he's kind of in a little position to where he wouldn't really benefit from like over-predicting. So I'm just going to go into Crobat and just get a U-turn off, because I know that he's probably not going to want to stay in, and give me switch initiative again, that he would rather have it in his favor. And so yeah, I'm just going to go into my Lodic now. And he's going to go into his Arcanine, because I think I have like 120 defense EVs in this. I know that I can take one Wild Charge, even though it is choice banded, and they get a Recover off, and then he will die to his not Life Orb Recoil, just Wild Charge Recoil, because it's, you know, has its recoil move. So I do live it, I do get a Recover off, and after all that I'm down with like, what, 97 hit points? So right here, I'm seeing, basically just kind of leaving this in, or leaving in my Lodic just to like really scout, because I'm figuring that this is choiced as well. I mean, he's got a really like choice-ish team for the most part. So, let's see, I'm just recovering, and I'm going to switch into my Crobat here, but he actually pulls a double switch and goes into his Slowbro. And this is the thing that I really need to keep my Lodic around for, just so I can at least fire off a Toxic on it, just so I can get that residual damage built up. I mean, I do have Registeel, but it's at, you know, lowish health. So anyways, I'm just going to U-turn out and then go into my my Lodic. He's going to go for Psychic. That's not really going to do a whole lot, because I am a more especially bulky variant. And so I'm going to fire off the Toxic here. And he goes out to Heracross, which made me think that he really has guts, which, you know, he probably does have guts, because I don't think Moxie's released yet. But anyways, I'm going to expect him to overpredict my Crobat switch here, because I figure that he's now in a position where he would want to do that, and that is the case. He does go for the Stone Edge, and I'm just able to knock him down low enough from my Scald to where the next round of toxic damage will kick him, or will knock him out, and by the way, LOL 69 HP. Well, I live on that. Well, whatever. So, anyways, in comes the Slowbro, and this is pretty much my game. It's just a matter of how am I going to take this thing out. So I fire off the Toxic, and that is, of course, barring that he doesn't have Rest. But I figure that what I've seen so far, it's not really looking like he would have like Rest, unless he would have just Rest by himself. In which case, you know, I could probably do some work with it, like kind of pain split it down. Just random theory modding now, because there's not really a whole lot much to talk about except the fact that I'm now at 69 HP again. So, yeah, I'm really just knocking him out with more Scalds, and he's going to finish me off here with a Psychic after the +1 boost. That's definitely going to take me out. And I'm going to finish this again like I finished my last match here on PMP. Fizzy Stardust style, go into my Crobat and just Brave Bird everything! And I probably failed to get into that quote. So, great game, PokemonAthletified. Check him out, check me out, subscribe to MoshPit, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys.